We know the work isn't being done on your desks this morning. We understand that. We get it. We also will help you with a second set of interviews for the top candidates. Is it 1, 2, 3? I hope you don't want to necessarily get into 5 or 6 of them. Then it gets a little messy. And sometimes we have to work around that. But we will work with you as to bringing the candidates back for the second interview. That interview is not as formal. It is not the legal one where we have to ask the same questions. It is, we've kind of had a proposal, but we haven't had a response. In the second interview, we can be a little more relaxed, and the candidate also can ask you questions. Candidates are very sophisticated right now in the last 10 years. It used to be, you'd start out in the desert and you'd work your way into town or something. I don't know what rule it was. But now, candidates will look at the area. Many of the candidates who have younger children or young people will be very interested in what the area has to offer their families and also the spouse, wife or husband. Is it in terms of commuter pattern? Is it reasonable for them to be able to cover? You know, when we talk about San Bernardino, people have this humongous impression of San Bernardino, and that's part of our education with candidates too. From there, we go to site visits. Those are arranged for people to go and validate and be assured that what they've read, what has been said, what they have observed is correct, is according to what they want to hear. We also then are able to help with negotiating the implementation of a contract. We're also capable of helping you introduce the person to your community, to your parents, to your children. You want to see this new person. It's exciting. It's also exciting for you to be able to bring that new person in. It's also scary. You want to bring the right person in. I know what you want to do. You want to bring the right person in who's going to stay a long time, and you don't want to have to go through this again for a while. I know what you want. Also, and then my last commentary, we don't go away. So if you think, okay, I'll listen to them once, I'll listen to them during this, then they're going to go away. We don't go away. We are here to help mentor the consul in working with the new person if necessary, if that's what you want. We're also here to help with the mentoring of the person as they come in to get to know your culture, to get to know your community. And because it may be a local person and that won't be as important, but it may be from somebody that's come down the road a piece and doesn't have that insight into it, but brings all the other skills that you need to have in terms of operations daily, in terms of hiring, in terms of money. We have to be on the cutting edge every day. And we know that, but that's why we're in the business, because we feel children are important enough to invest in. So as I said to you, we are around, we are here, we are available, and we don't go away. We're like the bad penny that shows up on occasion, and we check in to see that things are the way they should be. So, Jeannie is, how can I put it, resident expert, someone I have admired for a very long time. My SELPA was in the Anaheim area, but this was a name that was known, and so I'm going to let her talk to you about what she brings to this process.
I think one of the most exciting things about working with the COSCA group is the fact that mentoring for the new person is part of the package. And I've had an opportunity to mentor a number of new directors of special education and new SELPA directors. And no matter how much you think you know about an area, you know about a job, you know about the expectations, it's new. And the job of the SELPA administrator becomes more complex day by day. The whole issues about mental health and establishing programs. Your new person is going to have to learn the way things happen here. And that will be something that we provide at no additional cost. So the reputation of the firm, the experience that Cynthia brings in searches, I have learned so much from her just working with her for a few months, are advantageous to you, to your programs, and ultimately, bottom line is the students you serve. Are there questions that you would like to ask?
Anyone on our council have questions I'd like to address to the presenters?
There's a couple of tweaks that we have added to our process. We just finished San Bernardino. The intake process there was 4 days, 7 in the morning till 11 at night. That is all now on our website. So if somebody wishes to see that input, all they have to do is go on our website, and we've also loaded it on their website. So one of the things we really believe in is absolute total transparency up until the time you're doing your interview. We do not bring, when we take this information down from your community and you, we're so technologically advanced, we write it down on chart paper. Every word, every community member, every teacher, every child will see their words as they say them go on chart paper. If you have angry folks, let me tell you, that's a very diffusing process. To see their words honored and validated. You get every word. We don't change anything. It's all typed up and it's presented to you. But the difference from many other firms is we insist that it be presented to you in public. It is a public process. And we don't think that it should be done in closed session. Now, some boards don't like that, and they really don't want it, and then we say, don't hire us. Because you can't take public input and then give it to closed session. But it is very helpful to say to people, if you don't think the board's going to get this, come to the meeting. We'll give you a copy. And we do. We'll bring 50 copies. And that's a lot of paper that we have to shred later if they don't come. But we still bring them, because it's very important that this be transparent and completely open. Any questions at all?
One of the things I don't think I made clear was, in terms of your reading all of the files, they're brought to you so that you may read them as just in the same format we're reading them when we come back and make a recommendation to you in terms of who we feel is the best fit with the criteria established. You may easily say, but you didn't recommend candidate 7. And at that point, the onus becomes ours, that we must say to you, we felt the criteria was met at a 60% level. We also, on occasion, will say to you, we have had daily experience with this person or with people in the area where this person has worked, and it's questionable what was not in the letters. It was questionable enough about, did they demonstrate these skills? All right, you'll say, but we think the person fits. And that is your prerogative, and you would bring the person in, and you would clarify for yourself whether you felt the criteria was met or not. I'm going to share an anecdote. I was up in the Central Valley, and so we had recommended that a certain number of people come in for an interview. And the board president and another one said, but we like candidate so-and-so. And I said, well, that's fine. We'll do a further check on candidate so-and-so, and we will bring the person in. So that person was the last person brought in on Saturday afternoon, very warm in August in Central Coast. And so I was escorting the person to the parking lot. And I turn and come back to the lobby of the district office, and then board, 7 of them, standing there saying, why did we see that person? And because I am so diplomatic, I said, because you wanted to. He wasn't hired, but anyway, that's. So anyway, but we don't close doors. We don't impose our judgments on you, other than sometimes our core value of wanting to believe we get the person that is right for your community, your children, and for what we need to accomplish.
Simply indicated the mentoring would take place past the time the individual is hired. Is that inclusive also? You said in your letter that the price is inclusive, the fee is inclusive, so that mentoring is part of that fee.
Mentoring of of your director is included at no additional cost. It says a year, but the funny thing is, I'll go home today and have a couple of calls from people we've placed 3 or 4 years, 5 years ago. It never ends. And it doesn't end because they're part of our family. You know, when you become a Costco Group placement, we're committed to you, period, for the long term. When you're retired, we're still talking. You know, we become really good friends, and it's very important to us. It's Leonard and Lee's legacy through us, and we can't dishonor that legacy. It's very important. The people we place are the very best for the job.
And we know who we work for. But on the other hand, we also have a real concern for candidates. Because good candidates, there's not the huge supply there could have been 20 years ago, and everybody was begging to come into administration. It's a wonderful place, cushy place to be. So we're protective of who we work for, and we're ethical and moral in terms of working with the candidates. The letters will show you that.
I did not do a good job here. I didn't really tell you about Jeannie. Jeannie was a teacher here. She was a program person here. She was the director here. When I sat where you're sitting, if Jeannie said something, that was the end of the story, because we trusted her absolutely implicitly. It was a great relationship because she earned it. But now, she works throughout the state, and she mentors people all over the state and knows them really, really well. She's been the president of the association. She hosts them at her home repeatedly. You know, she is in tune with this, with SELPA people. And she's probably the best person in the state for recruiting. And I'm not saying that to pump up the Costco Group. That's just the way it is.
How many candidates ideally would you anticipate bringing forward? Is that a fair question?
How many candidates?
You realize that filling the job as SELPA administrator is as tough as filling a superintendency these days.
That's why I asked that question.
We would hope to bring forward 3 names of extremely well-qualified people.
With more candidates having applied.
Yes, yes. The reality is that this job is so complex and is so needing a person who is multidimensional in skills that we will need to be searching for and the reputation of this SELPA is so good. You're going to get more candidates than they get in other areas, just because people will want to come and work with your highly qualified staff and with a well-organized group of superintendents at leadership. So I'm expecting that we will have 15 or 20 candidates and bring forward three good names.
Just to piggyback on that, as broad of, and then I know there's obviously regional pools to look at, and Costco, example of, County Superintendent in Sacramento. What about a national net? Is there ways to advertise this aside from state publications so that, Southern California being an attractive location?
If it's something that your group would like, I'll be attending a national conference in April. And if you've made a decision on our firm, I will recruit at that national conference for the Council for Exceptional Children.
And we can get on the web pages for the Association of School Administrators. They just met in Denver. I'm going to be facetious and tell you also want a couple of more good tornado storms or snowstorms if you want to go national. That's what you do get on. Always that. But with technology, we can do that and post them, and we don't, we don't have to have all the information to begin with to post, because then people can begin exploring on their own network. And universities are doing that more with graduate students. Get that network, get them to use it. Who do you know that's in that general area kind of thing?
Our own group is made up of people who were extraordinarily influential throughout the nation. Carlos Garcia chairs some of the major groups in the nation. And, Dave Brown, who's executive director of WASP, travels this nation and the world. And as always, those folks are looking for who we recruit. We didn't put this list together by accident, and they're really, really good people. But when you select us, every one of us goes to work. You don't select just us. You get all of us. And we all work very hard at it because we're all committed to it.
And we're competitive. We like recognition. We bring those people forward.
And we do not like failure.
No.
Questions? Dr. Costa, thank you for coming and bringing your outstanding team to present to us today. We'll take this under consideration.
I think Cindy would like to come around and shake hands and have it.
Well, thank you. Hi. Thank you.
I'm sitting here
Even though I was superintendent,
okay.
I did though. You have a hard one. I need to get going. If we're hired, you'll see a lot of us.
Right.
Oh dear, why did you ask me? It's up north.
It's up north?
Well,
Like way north?
Yeah, you go out of Sacramento and then you wander back in.
Country's beautiful. Green country, like.
I was always driven out there because they thought I was directional.